I've redone this video because somebody said the sound quality wasn't good enough, and when I've listened to it I wasn't happy myself. So I'm hoping this is much better, but also there's a bigger picture at play that I need to advise people about. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Climate and Nature Bill, and basically this is to do with the planet warming, rewilding land, moving people off it, which gives it the potential to move people into the cities. Now, it's happened before under the Enclosure Act. Back in the 17th century, they moved people out of the countryside, forced them into the cities, and the Industrial Revolution started. Just remember, we're actually in the 4th Industrial Revolution, so do you get the big picture now? Quite a few commentators are now going on about the Climate and Nature Bill, so please look at it. That's the backdrop to it. Probably that can drive some of the next bit we're talking about. So what started me off on this was there was going to be there is going to be a solar panel field at Common Farm in Dinnington, which is along Brampton Straight Mile. 285 acres, 50 million watts of energy. So that's going to go all the way up Brampton Straight Mile. It's going ahead. They've dug the trenches, they've put cables in, they've covered it all back over, and at some stage they'll be putting the solar panels on that field. Now, I looked into the company doing it. It's a British company, but it's owned by an American asset management company, Brookfields, and Mark Carney, the Bank of England, or the ex-Bank of England chairman, is the chairman of that company as well. Doesn't it stink? Wheels within wheels. So I was horrified with this one, but it gets even worse. Now, Alexander Stafford, the ex-MP of Rother Valley, brought this up, and I'd be interested to know what Jake Richards, the current MP of Rother Valley, thinks. Alexander doesn't want this, and I totally agree with him. So there's two companies behind it, Green Nation and Net Zero One Limited. Now, are they truly British companies? I don't know, because Common Farm is certainly not a British company. It's owned by a Canadian company. So it comes off as being British, but it isn't. But what happened to Great British Energy? Why are we having all these private companies when if we were going to we're going to drive down costs, we're going to have a Great British Energy? We're even told during the election that we'd have a reduction in our energy costs. I think it was about 300 quid a year. We all thought that was going to be when Labour got in, but it comes out that it's not going to be to 2030, and Labour won't be in sight by then. So let's go to this proposal. And this is the map. It's not a great map, but this is a green area where all the solar panels are going to be, and also the battery storage. Where if we come to Dinnington, just here, it's not a very good map, because we've got Brampton Straight Mile, and I think Brampton Straight Mile sort of goes there and comes into Thurcroft that way, so it's sort of straight through the middle of that lot. So on there's going to be an additional 285 acres of solar panels. So what you see is green on there for Whitestone. There's also going to be some more green. We don't know what other green there's going to be on there from other companies. But these are all private companies. So you can just see the massive green from one end to the other. Now, I've calculated if it's 15 times bigger than Common Farm, this new solar panel setup, it's going to be 4,275 acres. It's going to power 250,000 homes, and it's 750 million watts of energy. So it's also been suggested to me in a previous video that when you put the solar panels on the land, it'll reduce the drainage, and that's going to cause problems in itself. But I just can't understand it why it's private companies and not one big public company doing it. But what's going to happen in 40 years' time, it may be green during taking the energy off it, but you had to manufacture these solar panels. Then after 40 years you've got to remove them. Who's going to remove them after 40 years? Are these private companies still going to be around, or are they going to take the profit in the middle and then expect us to remove the solar panels at the end? And that's going to be a massive amount of pollution. But we're only 60% food efficient. This could drive food efficiency down by 20% to 40%. But really we should be increasing food production in the UK, so we're at least producing 80% of our own food. I mean, Holland exports a massive amount of food to the rest of the world, a much smaller country than us. I think they're only second to America in exports in the food industry. So I have real massive concerns about eating into our green belt. It's space for you and me to actually go out in. It's a place for wildlife. What effects will all the solar panels have on the area around? Will they do damage to the wildlife? Will they give some sort of infrared energy off, etc.? I mean, if we were going to have solar panels, I believe they should be on the tops of factories, on the tops of houses and things like that, but not on our green belt. Now, if you're a real green, you're not a real green if you think this is the way forward. It's not the way forward. We should have burnt coal cleanly for the next 40 years, carbon capture on the power stations, and then what we should have done is waited for nuclear fusion, and then we could have really powered everything electrically. But I don't think we're advanced enough on the battery technology, and also on the recycling side of the batteries, where they're recycling them or how are they recycling them. So I don't think we're advanced enough to be running electric cars all over the roads at the moment. We should have had that 40 years, kept on with the petrol and also the gas, oil and coal, just burning it cleanly, and then said, let's use nuclear fusion, because there's no byproduct to this. It's a nuclear energy without the byproduct. It works like a star, giving out unlimited energy. Where they found this energy from, I don't know, but it's on the pipeline. It's going to happen. So, as usual, the solutions actually create more problems. Problem, reaction, solution. And you've got the other thing, fear is false, evidence appearing real. So I'll put all these links in the description and recommend you going through them, looking at them locally if you're not from around here. But we've got a major issue, I certainly think, with the climate and nature bill. I don't want to be living in smart cities, compacted in with people so that they can provide services to us so easy. So thanks for listening to the video.